Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You join us for post-match reactions for the UEFA Champions League semi-finals, where we're going to be covering two games today. Inter Milan have gone through to the final after a 3-0 aggregate win over AC Milan. And in the other semi-final, in a seismic shock to European football, Manchester City have absolutely destroyed Real Madrid 5-1 on aggregate 4-0 last night to advance to their second UEFA Champions League final in 3 years. Farah, initial reactions. Should we start with Madrid or you want to start with Inter Milan? Let's start with Madrid.
Okay.
Madrid and City, yeah.
To say that, if I were to say I was surprised, I'll be lying.
Yeah.
Because we've seen how dominant they have been at home against. I mean, they took out Bayern.
Yeah. Took out Bayern at home.
Yeah.
Quite handily.
I think that was just an indicator of things to come.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams kind of underestimate how tough it is to go to the Etihad. I mean, Man U have beaten Man City this season at Old Trafford, but then just got walloped at the Etihad.
6-3, yeah.
And I think Arsenal also faced the same issue. So Man City have done what I feel like any top team needs to do. They need to turn their home ground into a fortress and build off of that. And it's scary to think that the key player for Man City in the past two games aren't even their regular starting 11. I mean, Ilkay Gundogan in the last match and Bernardo Silva
in this one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was just, I think I was talking to you or someone. I feel like the Man City B team could also win the Champions League. That's how good they are. And that's scary to see from this team.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, there's nothing to disagree with that there. Like, City were frightening last night.
Yeah.
Madrid, who are European royalty, were made to look like rank amateurs, in all honesty. Yes, Kroos hit the bar at 2-0. It could have changed the complexion of the game, but you just felt like City just had another gear to go into.
Yep.
You know, and like they never really looked in trouble for the entire night. I think there's a stat going around that Real Madrid touched the ball only 13 times in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And like City were just, they were not going to lose this one, were they?
It's as Pep ball as it gets in terms of that control of possession.
Yeah.
And it's the good looking kind of Pep ball. It's not just the aimless possession that I think the Spanish game kind of gets associated with at times.
It's pointless tiki-taka.
It's really progressing the ball between the lines, trying to drag teams out of position.
Yep.
And we saw that. Like, how much space did Bernardo Silva have for that first goal?
Correct.
I mean, like to get behind Kamavinga, who put in an insane shift in the last game at the Bernabeu, but was kind of anonymous this last night.
Yeah. Exactly. And the thing is that, like, you know, they pushed and prodded, pulled them out of position. Take nothing away from Bernardo Silva's finish, but De Bruyne's through ball threaded between two players. You could see from the replay, if the ball had gone 1 inch one way or 1 inch the other way, it would have caught on the feet of the Real Madrid defenders, but it was absolutely millimeter perfect to put Bernardo through on goal. Yeah. Right.
If Man City do go on to win the treble, which I sincerely hope they do not. But and I think a lot of attention is going to go to Haaland, right?
Yeah.
Rightly so, with the number of goals that he has scored.
Yeah.
But this is KDB's marquee season.
Yeah.
If there's ever a player who deserves all his flowers, it's Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, as if coming from a Man U fan, like, you can't deny the class of a player that De Bruyne is, and it's
absolutely. Yeah.
And to think that he was once part of a Chelsea team and like pretty much discarded and sent to, was it Werder Bremen or was it Wolfsburg?
Wolfsburg. I mean, didn't he come from Wolfsburg? No, wait. He came from. Yeah, he was sent to Wolfsburg, and then City brought him back for 55 million.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
55 million is
steal. Now it looks like a steal. Absolutely. At the time, it looked like a risk. Yeah. You know. I mean, we could give Man City their flowers all day, but we do have to talk about Real Madrid. Is this the end of an era? I mean, we talked about this before. Like, if City managed to do Madrid, then this is, is this an end of an era for them?
Yeah, I think it definitely is. Like, looking at Kroos and Modric, like how I wouldn't say they got overrun in midfield, but then it's just they were always like one step behind, and that's something that's so weird to talk about, to say about Kroos and Modric.
Yeah.
Because they are a pair of footballers who take the game from midfield. Like, rarely do you see them not to say that they look lost, but then just to be off the pace. And when you talk about like Benzema as a forward, and even the centre backs. I mean, they brought Militao instead of Rudiger, and I feel like that was a bit of a mistake because I think the doggedness that Rudiger brought kept Haaland quiet. But then again, Haaland didn't really create much.
He had one chance. Well, not to say it wasn't even a chance. He was through on goal. He tried to take it around the keeper, but went too far, and then tried to square it, and nobody was coming in.
Yeah.
So that's about it. And he had a one-on-one save by Courtois, stuck out a knee and deflected it onto the ground over the bar. So that was basically it for his contributions.
I think he had a header as well somewhere in there.
Oh, and Courtois, with an insane save.
Yeah.
That was nuts. Absolutely crazy. Like, wow. He had two actually. I think one was directly at him. Haaland directly at him, and the other Haaland learned from his mistake and tried to put it the other side of the goal. And Courtois still managed to stick out a limb and get it out of the way. Yeah. So maybe it wasn't for want of trying though. If Courtois was anything less than world class last night, Haaland has a hat trick. So
it's. I wasn't a fan of Courtois when he was back at Chelsea, but I feel like he has kind of redeemed himself with his time at Real Madrid.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's end of an era for Real Madrid. I mean, like this is the last vestiges of the La Decima team. I guess the
and the three-peat and the three-peat team.
And the three-peat team. This is it. Casemiro, Varane, Marcelo. Who was playing right back way back in the day? But Cristiano. All these players, they're all gone. Sergio Ramos, right? Yeah. And these two were probably the last bastions of the three-peat team, and they are now probably looking at a dignified exit from that era, I guess. I mean, come on, this City team though, you gotta give them credit, even though you might not like, the circumstances of their existence, and you might not like Pep for whatever reason, but. Just amazing. Yeah,
I think it'll be something that we'll cover in our end of season review for the teams. But then the infrastructure that the City Footballing Group have put together has shown its fruit, because you could go the Abramovich way of just buying stars from every single constellation
and buying managers. Yep.
Yeah, but in all due respect, City haven't gone down that path. I mean, they did early on when they just brought in Robinho, Tevez, even
Robinho, who thought he was signing for Manchester United.
And the Torre brothers. They've kind of gone past it. They did win titles with that, but I guess they recognized that was not going to be sustainable. Case in point, Chelsea now. So the infrastructure that they've put together is actually we'll cover this at the end of this end of season review. But it's growth, I guess.
Growth. Yeah. So on from City Madrid to the Milan derby. AC Milan went into this needing to win by at least 3 clear goals, right? Or to score 2 and then get it to extra time, but they did neither. They were anonymous for large stretches of a must-win game. And there's not really much to say about it, honestly. AC Milan didn't turn up, did they?
Yeah. And Leao was back from injury, but we kind of saw that was pretty much their one chance at any comeback. Yeah. Leao did break, I think, down the left a couple of times, but then just couldn't capitalize on goal. Yeah. And like I said it before, this Inter team is a very experienced team, and it showed. I mean, they were able to manage the game very well and see out the first and second half. The first half mainly, I think that was when they knew that they needed to keep AC Milan quiet, and they did. And then in the second half, found the opening that they needed to kill off the game.
Yeah, I mean, considering that the Inter were playing at home at the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium. Last week they were at the San Siro, for the away game. So, but honestly, it's Milan are in danger of honestly sleepwalking to the end of the season. They're 5th in Serie A right now. Yeah, they need to win all 3 of their remaining games and hope that Lazio drops points in 2 of them in order for them to get into the Champions League. They look like they're sleepwalking to the end of the season, which is not really a good look for them. Honestly, if after all of this, getting to the semi-finals of the Champions League, to only be playing Europa League football next season must count as a disappointment for AC Milan if they don't get back into this Champions League, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially having won the title last season, and you kind of hope that growth is like you always want to be in that conversation, even if it's not for challenging for the title. You always want to be in the challenge
in the
for
conversation.
Europe.
Yeah, definitely.
And for them to fall off, I guess it speaks to maybe more issues within the club that needs to be settled. Not like financially or structurally, but then more of like the players, the gaps that you need to fill to be able to challenge on that consistent basis.
I think Ferguson was one that once said that winning the title is the easy part. It's trying to win it again. That's the hard bit, And then after winning it, trying to win it again after that. Like, maybe the players, not to say they're guilty of resting on their laurels, but maybe they just mentally took their foot off the gas a little bit, thinking, we've already, a lot of players would happily retire with one league winners medal, when they've already done that. So what's more for them?
And
so it's a bit sad, really.
I'll always put this asterisk on this season because of just how long it is. Like teams that are performing bad, whether it's your Chelsea's, your AC Milan's, or even like say your Real Madrid's in the La Liga, I wouldn't put too much meat into saying that they are on their downward spiral. I mean, the number of matches that these players have had to play, and just how condensed their schedules are, it's going to get to them sooner or later, and it's going to exaggerate a lot of these form issues, I would say, because like you're just playing football week in week out. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to reset, and like
you don't have time to recuperate. That's the key thing, And like I think we've talked about it before. Just taking Manchester United as an example, last week's 1 week break was the first time they've had a proper week's break between matches since before the World Cup, right? And it's not just a problem with Manchester United. All the other teams have had that issue where if you are competing at the top level, if you're competing for multiple trophies and all that, you are going to have that fixture congestion. It's just absolutely. Even next week, United will be playing on the Thursday and then playing on the Sunday again. Because of all these games that needed to be rescheduled. It's absolutely crazy. I really hope the powers that be, I know they don't watch this podcast, at some point they will, that they realize that player welfare is so important, so critical, because if they don't realize it, then I guess there's no hope for the rest of us.
And actually to that point, because since we were talking about Manchester City, like Pep's plan to not have any rigorous pre-season for Man City in the lead up to this season, knowing that you're going to have a World Cup right smack in the middle of the season, is obviously paying off. I mean, there's a lot of talk about like, how often Man U have been playing and all that, but Man City have been playing almost an equivalent number of games. Yes, they got knocked out of the Carabao Cup early, but they're still in the finals of the FA Cup. They're in the finals of the Champions League, and they're in a push for the title. If they were coasting to the title with like a 5-point lead,
they're coasting now.
They're coasting now, but they had to play that
get there,
catch up, and it's paying dividends for them because like they're coming up to the end of the title and they look to have all the momentum behind them. So all credit to Pep for thinking it out there compared to all the other teams who had very rigorous pre-seasons.
I mean, there's a reason why they've looked so shaky in the first part of the season, right? Because again, not lacking a pre-season, and I think maybe, some of us were guilty of this knee-jerk reaction. We're like, has Haaland made this team worse? What is wrong with this Man City? What's wrong with Man City right now? I'm sure, we weren't the only fans thinking that actually maybe this is the end of an era, because we were also seeing in parallel the drop-off of Liverpool, right? Liverpool, who have now roared back, and are in fifth, could still take a Champions League place after being 10th at one point, right? City themselves were once third or fourth, right? So it's like, I guess the lesson here is these people know more than we do. The managers know better than we do, and it's like, I think what's the word that's used with Ten Hag? Trust the process.
Definitely
so
trust the process.
So City fans, if they win the treble, well, begrudgingly give it to them. But no, you still have United in the way.
Actually, one final note about the Inter Milan AC Milan game. Holy shit, Lukaku! How the hell did you manage to control that ball twice in the lead up to the goal?
Yeah,
that's not Lukaku-esque at all.
No, that was weird. It was like, hang on a minute, who are you and what have you done with the real Lukaku? But then again, he's had a lot of time out, so he's had a lot of time to finally work on his first touch, I guess. Okay, so predictions then. Manchester City or Inter Milan to win the UEFA Champions League.
as much as I don't want Man City to win, I think on paper Man City are the favourites. But I trust Inter Milan to at least put up
A
a
fight.
fight defensively.
Okay.
I think whether they can score, I mean, Lautaro Martinez, Lukaku, they don't really inspire a lot of confidence
Yeah.
for goal scoring. But I hope whatever, because finals tend to be cagey affairs,
Yeah.
right? So I'm guessing like it's gonna be like a 1-0 win to Man City.
Okay. All right. I am gonna go with my heart rather than my head. My head says Man City, but I want Inter to win. Yeah, it's been 13 years since they won the UEFA Champions League, right? Under Jose. I would just like to see them again. I've always been an Inter Milan fan. Childhood, ever since my childhood in 2023 started. So yeah, have always been an Inter Milan fan. Yeah, okay, so that's our predictions. And speaking of predictions, actually, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are running a match prediction contest on Kickoff by Zuju on the app or on our web platform. All you have to do is to predict 10 correct predictions for the upcoming EPL game week, at least one EPL game week, to predict all of them correctly, and you could win the entire Maestro card collection from us. So be sure to log into the app and make your predictions. Right now, contest runs until the end of the season, and if you'd like to find out more about that, join us on our Discord, link in the description below. I've been Rafi.
I'm Farik.
Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.